Hey, before we get started with the question and answer session, first off, I just want to lead off with just letting everybody know we've talked a little bit as a team, not in a full squad compact yet, but, our thoughts and prayers go out to Ron Rivera and his family. This is obviously we compete against each other on a weekly basis. There's rivalries within a division. When you hear news like this, you're all on the same team, and we all really, truly pull for each other. I've been on the phone with several other head coaches just this morning, and I know everyone has the same sentiments as me. I'll let them speak for themselves. But, at this time, I want to, send our prayers and thoughts to him and his family. I look forward to seeing him this fall in the field, competing and getting well. As far as the scrimmage today went, listen, we were able to build in a lot of situational work. We were able to get a lot of live work, which the guys really needed, as far as wrapping up, tackling, going to the ground, feeling the contact, blocking, getting good live pass rushes, and 11-11 on situations. We got a good bit of volume for the players. They were able to handle it. Their conditioning's improving. They came out with good effort, energy. That was very pleasing. Next week we'll kind of kick it back up with the goal of building into an inter-squad game on Friday. So we'll get back, talk with the trainers, talk with the strength coaches, look at the volume we've had on the players this first week, which we pushed them through a lot. And we'll see how to structure next week's practice accordingly to make sure that we can go ahead and lead up to next Friday's game. So with that, I'll open up to any questions you have.
Jordan.
Hey Joe, what did you think of your first team offense, or and Daniel in specific?
Well, I thought everyone came out to compete today, and listen, there were some times right there that they played better or not. I thought they ended the day on a high note with some good drives going down the field. There's always some things you have to clean up. To me, it's about the things we can control. But for a first day of really going out there in a live situation of just calling plays and running plays, I was pleased with the effort today. I was pleased with the urgency. There's a lot of things we have to clean up going forward. I got to look at the tape to tell you specifically what all those are. I don't want to go ahead and misspeak till I watch it on videotape. But overall, I was pleased with the way they came out to work today.
Do you subscribe to the theory that in these kind of situations, a lot of times the defense is ahead of the offense when you first start doing real live action?
You know what, Jordan? It's going back and forth every day. It really has. It's going back and forth. When you play a common opponent, which is inter-squad right now, you get a tendency and a lean on your own teammates. You get a better view throughout the week on what the offense is installing. Obviously our offense ran plays today that they installed throughout the week. Our defense saw a lot of these. They weren't carbon copies of what they saw in practice, but different versions of them. So defensively, our guys have done their homework. They stayed ahead a little bit. Obviously they studied, and they knew what to expect in certain situations, coming forward.
How impressive was it to see Darnay Holmes, a rookie? This is really his first glimpse of as close to live NFL action as you're going to see, come out and be as disruptive as he was. He had that nice interception down near the goal line. Just how impressed were you with what you saw from him today?
He's a real competitive guy. He comes to work every day with a full head of steam. He's very attentive. So I'm not surprised to see him improving day by day. I was pleased with the way he played today. I'm sure there's things he's got to clean up. I got a couple things on the top of my mind right now, like we do with every player on the team. But I was pleased with the way he came out and competed today.
Along those lines, also, you said that this was kind of a test of the communication between the coaches and calling plays in. How do you think that went with Patrick Graham and the defense?
I thought it went well. We didn't have any personnel issues on the day as far as getting guys on and off the field. There were a lot of situations that were involved. They have to match the offensive personnel based on down and distance, operating fully from the sideline today. I thought the coaching staff did well. We got to remember, this was really the first time this coaching staff on either side of the ball have worked together in this kind of situation. So there's a lot of communication as coaches we have to work out as well. I'd say the element that was kind of left out of it today was myself to Pat and Jason and T-Mac as I kind of sat back today and I really wanted to observe and watch the players up close, and I wanted to hear the play being called in the huddle. I wanted to see the demeanor of the players up close, and I want to watch how they competed throughout the game, or scrimmage, to say.
Dougie.
Hey, Joe, I know you're evaluating everything, but did these scrimmages, did they carry a little bit more weight? And just along those lines, if you want to share, did anybody jump out to you?
You know what? I'm going to wait till I watch the tape, Dan, before I go ahead, but I was pleased with the way everyone came out and worked today. I would say every day is important. Everything's evaluated, Dan, but a day like today when you tell the team, hey, listen, we're going out there. It's live situation football. We're calling plays you practice. We're putting in calls, situations you worked on defense, and play ball. And you want to see how guys perform in these situations because this is the closest simulation we can have to a game. If you put it kind of in context what we're doing today, this would have roughly been equivalent to a competitive practice against an opponent leading into preseason game 1 today. So this would have been a similar setup we would have had with a common opponent and leading into the game. Next week, we have to flip around and kind of get more into true game mode and almost try to replicate that preseason game 3. So obviously it's a fast-forwarded version of training camp, but we're trying to make sure we acclimate the players accordingly and build into it that they can do it, effectively and safely.
And then we didn't see McKinney, Conley, and Coleman today. Any update on where those guys are at?
You know what? We just thought they had a really strong load, and we're looking to really build it the next Friday. So based on what they did the rest of the week, and those guys carried a heavy load for the team throughout practices, we thought it was best to just go ahead and rest them. We worked several other players throughout the practice as needed by certain periods. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of young players we had to see today. We have to think in context of, again, we didn't have preseason game 1 this year, where you see a lot of young guys get out there and show you how they compete. Today, in essence, for us was a lot of preseason game 1 to see how guys get on the field, compete, and what kind of impression they can leave us with.
Thanks.
Pat Leonard.
Hey, Joe, were you pleased after the Holmes' interception to see Andrew Thomas finish the play like that and knock the ball out? And then about the corners, too, Julian Love, Bradbury, Holmes. It seemed like your corners had their hands on the ball today. Was that also something that pleased you?
It was definitely something. Look, you want your defense to be ball hawks and flying around all the time. Those guys have been doing a really good job this week of working and improving. Again, it goes back and forth. Sometimes you turn on, offensive drills and they're owning the defense. Sometimes turn it on, the defense is winning. But it was good today to see them out in a competitive situation of not only applying what we're calling, but what we're calling in the situation. You can't just call plays. Is it 1st and 10? Is it 2nd and short? Is it 2nd and long? What's the 3rd down and distance? What's the personnel on the field? They got to process a lot of information in a short amount of time. And by doing that, they put themselves in the right position. I was very pleased with that. And the answer on Andrew is, I was very pleased to see our offensive line hustle in that situation. That's what we preach right there in terms of looking for the turnover, securing the tackle. So it's good to have things that you preach in the classroom show up on the field.
Well,
now, on the other side, Darnay's going to get ripped for fumbling the ball.
Right. Sorry to interrupt you there. One other quick one. David Sills had the ball in his hands a lot today. Seems like he factored in big time. Can he also help you on special teams? And is he a guy who has shown you something through this offseason?
I know he's been doing a lot of work with T-Mac and Tom. Look, this guy busts his butt every day, comes out. He's shown up a lot for us already on offense. He shows up in the kicking game. We're going to get more competitive within the kicking game situations this week as we practice and within the game. So a lot of those positions will be kind of, more revealed as we go forward. But I'm very pleased with how David comes out every day and works. It's no surprise he's making plays and being productive.
Want to ask you about two guys similar to what Pat just asked you about Sills, two guys who keep flashing to me. Alex Backman seems like he's always open, and Javon Leak seems like we know about Saquon Lewis, but Javon Leak seems like he's giving you good depth at running back. What have you seen from both those guys?
But you know what? Starting with Leak, he's a guy who's really coming on right now. He's feeling more comfortable within the system and the scheme. He's doing a good job taking the coaching points from Burton to the field. He's a guy that's very in tune in meetings, paying attention. You can see that with him. So he's improved on a daily basis. And look, today's a day where he had an opportunity to go out there and just play. And that's always how you want to see it. He went out there, just played some ball, made some plays for us. There's some things he's got to correct and clean up. And that's our focus as coaches, making sure we come back, make corrections, and push forward. In terms of Bachman, again, very much like David, he's a guy that comes to work every day, works hard. He's productive in drills. He's productive in team periods. It's no surprise to see him making plays. We just got to keep all those guys in the same rotation, give them chances to see ultimately who can compete and help us win.
Ed.
Coach, you talked the other day about Daniel and the command that he's showing of the offense. Were you pleased, not necessarily with what he completed and didn't complete today, but with how he ran the offense and the command he had at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, very much so. And if you guys saw me during the scrimmage, I was standing behind the huddle, behind the offense the entire time. And look, the things you can't see on film are, the command. You can't see on film the way he is in the huddle. You can't see on film the presence our players have at the line of scrimmage. So that's why I was standing where I am today, to make sure that I could really feel our guys out there in the field and get a sense of how they are interacting with each other and who's really out there dictating what's going on. I was very pleased with the tone. He's set in the huddle. He does it every day at practice. But he went out there today in a competitive situation and really stepped up. He has good command situationally. He knows how to use some of the variety of calls and checks within our offense. And I thought, he really showed up a lot in that, end of the scrimmage, that, no huddle situation we had right there. And I was very pleased to see how he commanded the entire team and kept everyone moving through the situation.
Thank you.
Last question here, Tom Rock.
Joe, I know you were asked a little bit about Love earlier. Just what have you seen from him, and is he a vastly different player than what you saw on film and maybe scouting him last year coming into the league?
I think all these guys who were young players last year have improved. They're still young guys and improving every day. You know, he's a guy who's really just felt more comfortable within our system and scheme. There's just a learning curve, so you've seen him improve every day. He's getting more comfortable back there. He's been more vocal. That's important in his role as being a signal caller in the deep part of the field. And he has the athletic ability that we're going to play him in different variety of spots based on the matchups. You see him play up in some man coverage sometimes. Other times he's back in deep part of the field. So we're going to move him around as needed based on the situation. But to answer your question overall, I see him improving every day. I'm not really concerned about where he was last year. I'm concerned where he's going to be, in a couple of days, next week, a month from now. And I see him moving on the right track in that direction.
We talk a lot about how McKinney and Peppers sort of play off of each other. Is Love really the key to allowing those two to do what they do and to give them the flexibility?
There's no one key on that, Tom. It really kind of bases on the opponent, what you're trying to match, and what the scheme you're calling right there is. But you really need flexibility with your personnel in the secondary to be able to do different schemes. And those guys right now have given us a lot of flexibility we've been able to use. We've got to keep bringing these young guys along. They've been working hard as well. But they all play off each other with what they're doing. There's no one key in those three.